Alright, so this video is about what I call the Lakers loser gene. I could tell you when this gene started, right? And kind of when it grew and propagated, when it got bigger. It started, in my opinion, when Dr. Jerry Buss and Dr. Jerry West began to have a lesser and lesser role within the team. Those guys were all about winning. And they recognized that if you win, certain things come with that, right? You'll get success everywhere else if you win. Especially if you're the Los Angeles Lakers and you win, right? So once they began to have a lesser and lesser role in the organization, right, as the kids who, while we all may complain about DEI and whatnot, right, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the worst by far is legacy, by far. And once Dr. Jerry Buss began to be less able to have control over the Lakers, a tangible, effective control over the Lakers, and the kids took over, that's when things started to go down, right? That's one. The second part was when the Lakers began to live and breathe basketball through a single player. Not through a team, through a single player. And yes, I'm talking about the Kobe Bryant years. That's when I really began to see the brand go down. And I believe that what we're seeing now with this particular group of Lakers, right, is not an issue on the court. It's an issue off the court, right? So the loser gene, in my opinion, that the Lakers have right now is off the court primarily, and it's making its way onto the court, right? Now, what do I mean by loser gene? I'll put it in layman's terms, right? And then I'll move to basketball terms. If you got 10 friends, right? 10 family members, 10 people you know, and you tell them, okay, look, I'm going to give you $1,300,000, right? And all you got to do is this. On Monday morning, take the $300 and open up a bank account, right? Be at the bank at 9:05 in the morning, right? I don't care if you get there early, just don't be late. Be at the bank at 9:05 in the morning and open a bank account with the $300. You open a bank account, come meet me here, right? And shake my hand. Meet me at this diner at 10 a.m. and shake my hand. Then go to the bank and your money and everything else will be in there. You'll have $1 million in the bank. If you have 10 friends, I'm asking you if somebody is going to F that up. Is there somebody amongst your friends, amongst your 10 friends, amongst your 10 family members, amongst your 10 associates? Is there somebody who you think would F that up? Monday, be here at 9:05. Tuesday, be here at 10 a.m. to shake my hand. And you'll be $1 million in your bank account. Would somebody F that up? It seems so simple, right? Yo, I'm telling you right now, if I had to bet whether somebody would mess that up or not, I would probably bet that somebody would mess it up. They would mess up the opportunity to receive $1 million. Something is going to happen to them. And you know what's funny? Is this. If you ran that experiment 10 times. No, let me rephrase that. If you told every one of the 10 people who we're speaking of who was going to mess it up, they would probably all pick the same person. I got this guy at my job, right? He was late to an important meeting. And the bad part about it was, if of the 15 people in the meeting, everybody would have said it was going to be that guy. He looked like trash. And he felt bad. But he couldn't help it. He couldn't help it. Right? And we all know that trait. We all know that gene. And the Lakers got a loser gene in them. Right? And the thing about a loser gene is, oftentimes people who have a loser gene also have the gene that makes them great too. They could be great. but they just can't get their stuff together. They can't do the little simple stuff that would take them to being great. You've all heard, right? And you ask NBA players, they'll tell you of guys who were better than Isaiah Thomas, better than Tracy McGrady, better than this, that, or better than Kareem, right? Earl the GOAT Manigault, right? We all hear of these guys, and it's like, well, what happened? You know? I'm not saying that they're all losers. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there is something they couldn't get out of their own way. They couldn't get out of their own way. Now, I said initially that the Lakers loser gene starts off the court. I'm going to explain to you how. This is real simple. This is the most simple, blatant way I could say it, right? I was just listening to Trevor Lane, right? I often listen to Trevor Lane because I want to get an idea of what people are thinking. He's good for that, right? I don't like his commentary very much, but he is good for that. And the Laker Nation podcast, and he was talking about how the Lakers play Jackson Hayes 10 minutes or less, and no other center exists on the roster. That's loser stuff. Do you understand what I mean now? Right? All you had to do was find a playable center. And you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. You know, when the Lakers had LeBron and Anthony Davis, arguably two of the top 15 players in the NBA, how come the team could not acquire more to put around these guys? What was the issue, right? I'm going to tell you exactly what the issue is. When Dr. Jerry Buss and Jerry West left, right, or became less and less valuable to the team and ultimately left the team, one through he passed and one through a fallout. Lakers had a fallout with Jerry West. But when they left, they were moving in such a way that said winning is success. Winning is money, right? This is a business. Nobody is running away from that thought. But if we win, the business will follow. And now it's, if we have these players, we'll get the business. Two different things, right? If we have this star for the next 10 or 15 years, we'll get the business, right? Two different things. You see? So when the Lakers and Kobe, perfect example, Kobe Bryant, right? For 5 years, they weren't trying to win. The last time they tried to win was when they had Kobe, Nash, Dwight Howard. They tried to win that year. And you know what? It didn't work. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'm not tripping about that. I didn't think it would work at the time because I know that once a certain kind of player gets old, that's it. It's done. Right? I knew that. But they didn't. They made a mistake. Right? So that didn't work. That's okay. They tried. They tried to win. They didn't try to hold on to players to make a gang of money. They tried to win. Right? Then, when that fell through, it was, in my opinion, the worst period of Laker basketball in Laker history. They put Kobe Bryant on the court as a cash cow. That's right. They used Kobe Bryant and his name and his goodwill in Los Angeles and in the NBA. They used him as a cash cow. They realized if we could just keep trucking this dude on the court, we'll have sellouts. We'll be on TV. We'll be relevant in some way, shape, or form. And we don't even have to surround him with anything. We don't have to work. We don't have to do a damn thing. All we have to do is just keep trotting his ass out onto the court. That's when I knew that it's a different era. It's a different era of Laker basketball. right? And then so you get the kids, right? The kids take over for Dr. Jerry Buss. And who do you see Jeannie Buss start to hire and start to have in her inner circle? Linda Rambis. Who is Linda Rambis? Right? Kurt Rambis. Right? Her brothers. Who, by the way, I like one of the Buss brothers. That dude finds players. And they should have kept Ryan West too. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But what I'm trying to tell you is that, again, people yell about DEI, right? What about nepotism? What about legacy? Right? What about fraternization? Right? Because those are the best jobs that go to people who don't deserve it and people who aren't qualified. Those are the jobs. That's what happened to the Lakers. Right? Well, who are we going to have as GM? Rob Pelinka. Every other GM hates Rob Pelinka, and you're the Lakers. What does that mean by every other GM hates Rob Pelinka, and you're the Lakers? They weren't trying to help us out before. So you go and get the guy they hate? Why? Well, I know him. Me and we had good relationships because he was Kobe Bryant's agent and blah, 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 blah. How come when you have 2 of the 15 best players in the NBA, your aspirations aren't a championship every year? I never got that vibe. After 2022, I did not get the vibe that the Lakers' aspirations were a championship. I did not get that vibe. As a matter of fact, I could prove to you the Lakers did not carry that kind of energy. Last year, we went the whole freaking offseason, didn't sign or trade or do anything. No transactions. Why? Because as long as you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you're going to have a packed Staples. Really, as long as you have LeBron James, you have a packed Staples. You see, our goal changed from winning being the genesis and the beginning of success to having players being the genesis of success. Meaning what we considered success was all money. Right? Success is money now. Success is not winning now. It's 2 different approaches, and it manifests itself in many different ways. Right? So again, you look at this Lakers squad right now, the team that is going to play today at 3 p.m. Eastern. You look at this Lakers squad, and Trevor Lane is saying that they don't have a center. That they do not. Jackson Hayes plays 7 minutes a game. And after that, there is no center that is playable in the freaking NBA. Think about that. That's loser type mentality. I was listening to Trevor Lane, man, and the reason why I bring him up is because one of the Laker podcasts, the dude has the biggest following, right? But Laker Nation is listening to what this dude is saying, right? And they're taking a cue from that. And he said something to the effect of the Lakers gave away Game 3. You don't go on a scoring drought for 4 minutes at the end of the 4th quarter in the freaking playoffs and make that statement unless you have a loser mentality. They didn't give away Game 3. What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? How do you, if you're in the 4th quarter, and let's say the game is tied, let's say it's Game 3, and you go 4 minutes at the end of the game in the 4th quarter without scoring. What you mean you gave it away? You lost. They took it from you. What don't you understand about that? Right? You go into a playoff game against a big physical team, and I'm listening to Trevor Lane again yell about, oh, we're just going to play small. We're better playing small. Why is that the only option? Right? You let me tell you something. Dalton Connect. Yeah, I'm gonna keep talking about Dalton Connect because they did the dude wrong. The way the dude started the year, the Lakers should have said to themselves, man, if we could get this dude incorporated and solid into our, you got 82 games, and I keep saying by game 82 you are not a rookie anymore. The way the dude started, if they just said, man, if we could get this dude to 15, 20, and he was an easy 15, 20 a game. If we could improve his defense and get him to a solid 15 to 20 and a roll off the bench, we're going to be tough to beat. Could anybody tell me right now Dalton Connect is better than when he played the first or second or fifth game of the season? Could anybody tell me that? You see, and this was me. I had a loser mentality, and I had a loser mentality regarding investing. Right? I had probably $300,000, right? And I had a plan to acquire it, and every step of that plan went correct, right? Until the last step. And on the last step, this is what happened. I'll tell you exactly what happened. And the reason why I say I have a loser mentality, or I had a loser mentality, was because I didn't understand what I didn't understand. I should have researched more. I should have thought of it as tougher and should have been more careful. And I didn't. And that's on me. But I had a plan to acquire $300,000, and I did. Right? And the way things were going in the stock market at the time, this was right before COVID hit. Or maybe right after. But the way things were going in the stock market, every initial public offering, IPO, was hitting and going through the roof. And I did everything right to acquire $300,000. And I got to this last step, and I played it like a gamble. And I did not play it like an investment. Right? And that was loser-ish. And I recognize that in hindsight. Right? Well, why do I recognize that in hindsight? Right? What made it loser-ish? What made it loser-ish is, if I give you or give 10 people $100,000, one of those people is going to go to the casino and blow it. And next week, they're not going to have $100,000. Facts. It's going to happen. Right? And it may not be the casino. It may be something else. Well, I thought that, if I could just go and open up this car wash, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be something else. My point is, if people are not going to stop and think and consider, right, and take the time to, somebody is going to blow it. Is some of that because of where you come from? Absolutely, it is, right? But relative to the Lakers, there's many different dynamics, right? So I'm not trying to get anybody in a mood or make anybody feel like I'm doing them wrong. What I'm getting at is that with the Lakers, much of what the Lakers have in different places is not operating from the correct space, right? It's operating from a space of business. And like the current president, right? When you make the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, come in and make his job just to cut American citizens' jobs to save money, right? You don't want to touch taxes. You don't want to touch military spending. And you don't want to touch Social Security because they're all the third rail. Meaning, there's stuff that people are going to notice and they're going to pass judgment on you over. So you just start cutting as many jobs in as many places that most of the country really does not like. So, for example, if they go and cut the Department of Education. Department of Education is affiliated with Washington, D.C. Go for it. They go and they round up all these immigrants, right? They're not rounding them up primarily from farms and whatnot in the South where they need that work, that are red states. We're rounding them up in other places. Many times blue states, right? You're doing stuff that you don't understand. You don't know what's going on. I'll give you an example. I work in D.C. Washington, D.C. I live in Northern Virginia, right? I work in D.C. and they went and said, okay, everybody got to go back to work. No more working from home. And a lot of people around the country are going to say, well, I have to go into work. Why don't you have to go into work? Right? Well, they moved to D.C. with a particular resume and a level of education that allowed them to get a job that allows them to work from home. So you just stop hating, okay? Stop being disappointed with what you couldn't accomplish. They could. So they went to DC, they got these jobs, they all go back to work. In my office, if everyone goes back to work, there is not a place to sit. That's how it works in my office, right? So instead of going to every office and doing an assessment to figure out where they could cut waste, and we all agree you should cut waste if you can, right? But instead of figuring out where you could cut waste, right, and being tactical and surgical about it, they just told everybody to come back to work, not understanding what the conditions were, right? And that's the Lakers. The Lakers are moving and executing with a group of people who do not understand what the conditions are. You see, the conditions that they have, it's almost better not to make the playoffs. How do I mean by that, right? How could it be better for them not to make the playoffs? Well, once you're a playoff team, you have to be proactive. If you are a championship contender and you did not have enough to get over the hump, somebody got to be proactive. What did we see last offseason? Did we see Rob Pelinka be proactive? No. The dude was the opposite. He was inactive. 100% inactive. Why could he do that? Because a championship aspiration was not what this team was about. This team was about getting through LeBron, like getting through Kobe, right? And giving this team somewhere in between a championship and the playoffs. That's where we like you. That's where we are safe. If we operate in that place, just like a businessman would think, right? If we operate in this place, we're going to get good returns every year, right? We know where everything is. We know where all our success lies. We're going to get good returns. And that's what the Lakers are doing. That's how they're moving. And thank God that we got Luka. Because Rob Pelinka got to get up off his hands now. He's sitting on his hands. He got to get up off of them and go do something now. You have to do something now. And I'm telling you right now, that's the place he did not want to be in. In my opinion, the Lakers traded for Mark Williams and rescinded the trade because someone got in his ear. Two things. Someone got in his ear and said, you know, did you see what Dalton Knecht did earlier this year? He helped us win. He only got benched when Gabe Vincent got healthy. And Gabe Vincent got chance after chance after chance, which was also a business decision. Right? Somebody got in his ear and said that. And then somebody else got in his ear and said, yo, Dalton Knecht looks a lot like Tyler Hero. Watch their games. Watch the numbers they put up. Watch the shots they get. They're bucket getters. They're ballers. Someone got in his ear and said that stuff. And I believe the Lakers rescinded that trade. I don't believe it was Charlotte. I believe Charlotte was good to go, ready to go. And I believe the Lakers found a reason to get out of that trade because of that. Right? But my bigger point is the Lakers are operating in a position that their management is not qualified to operate in. For the most simple reasons you could think of. Their heart is not in the right place. Their heart is not about winning. Their heart is about making money. Right? And That's what you're seeing. That's why I equated it to the government just going in and just slashing jobs all over the place. Your heart is not about saving the country money. You slash all those jobs, you're going to save a trivial amount of money relative to the cost of military and defense, the cost of Social Security, and the cost of taxes that you could get back from the rich. It's a trivial amount of money, but there are real people at the other end of that. When you go and tell somebody who's on a probationary period, oh, your job is gone, and they just got through moving from Texas to Northern Virginia to work a job in Washington, D.C., uprooted their whole life, and you say, nope, all probationary jobs are gone. You don't care. You really, at the end of the day, you don't care about the bottom line. As far as a government goes, it should be the people. And as far as a sports team goes, it should be winning. Do you see the correlation now? That's why the Lakers have a loser mentality. Because as far as the sports thing goes, it's not winning. Right? It's making money. That's the problem. That's where all of this is going sideways. That's why when you look at this team and you're like, they don't have one other center to play? Really? No, they don't. They don't care. They didn't have to care. That's why they don't have another center to play. Does that answer your question? I'm going to do a prediction video, and I'll just tell you right now without explaining. I predict the Lakers lose Game 4, and I predict that it's just a matter of time after that. Right? This team was not built to succeed, and JJ Redick is going to have to be introspective and figure out and get over himself and figure out what he needs for this team to win, because he wants a certain way, right? But hey man, when you're an adult like me, I'm 47 years old, and I wanted certain things too, but in order to get those things, I had to pay my dues, abide by the rules, and come up, work hard, right? And when you see JJ Redick coach, he's the only guy in the he's like the only coach I've seen who thinks that what he did in the regular season is going to get him through these playoffs. He's like the only coach I've seen. It's like, yo, dude, you still haven't gotten the memo, have you? The playoffs changed the game. The game you were playing in the regular season. And this is part of the problem. JJ Redick was not a postseason player. He may have played in the postseason, but he wasn't a postseason player. He didn't understand. He never had the weight of the world on his shoulders. He was not the one down there banging and grinding. Right? If he was running off screens, trying to get open to shoot a three that was generated from a more superior player, right? In the regular season, he was doing this. In the postseason, he's doing the same thing. Running off screens, trying to be open to get a three after attention was given to a more superior player and that superior player kicked to him. He did the same thing. He don't understand, and he is not coaching as if the game goes up a notch and gets more physical and bigger. Look, I keep saying, look at these scores. Look at the scores of these games. It ain't the regular season. What don't you understand? You know? What don't you get? It's not the regular season. And you walked in with a roster that don't have a center on it. You're playing a game that only the 2017 Golden State Warriors could play. 50+% of your shots, total shots, are three-pointers. Do you have the personnel for that to be your game plan? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Again, I'm 47. The reason why I keep saying that is because I've made enough F-ups and mistakes that it's like, yo, dude, I can't believe you're doing this type of stuff. Anyway, yeah, that's my prediction. The Lakers lose game 4. I hope they win. I'll be glad to be wrong, but I think they're going to lose game 4. I just put that out here because I don't hide anything. I'm throwing it out there. If you like the content and the way I speak and what I'm talking it to, like and subscribe, right? If you don't like and subscribe. This is therapy for me. I need to get this stuff off my chest. But I'll make a whole video about my prediction for game 4, and I'm going to tell you why I predict what I predict. Okay? And, hey, again, like and subscribe. Help me blow this channel up. All right, y'all.